Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Joe Martin with the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Today, we have a special guest, Hannah Sue, and we're going to get into the Hannah Sue and where that came from, because you just told me behind the scenes that there's a big story behind Hannah Sue. So, Hannah Sue, when you sit down and talk to her, she doesn't look like one of those Hannah Sues.
Oh, yes. Really?
I don't know. We're going to get into it. But this is Hannah Sue Kim. She's been a friend of mine for a while. I've met her through the gym, and actually, a former guest of our show, Lamont Nash, said she had a great story. So listen to his podcast too, and we'll see. Hopefully, he did a good recommendation for sending her in. But give me a little handshake for you.
Oh.
Just want to thank you very much for coming on the show. And so, Hannah, the premise of the Warrior Mindset Podcast is just interviewing people on a daily basis and see, what's kind of how their life is kind of unfolding for them. Every day we have the armor that we got to put on our body, and we're fighting the good fight. Whether it's marriages or kids or business or health issues or things like that. So what we'll do is we'll just start off from the beginning and just kind of give us a little bit of your history on where you came from, and then some of the little trials and tribulations, and maybe you stepped in the puddle, maybe you fell in some quicksand, maybe your wheels were spinning in the gravel for a while before you hit pay dirt. But just give the audience, kind of introduce yourself, just talk to the audience and myself on, where you came from.
Okay. Well, I'm Hannah, and I am.
Hi, Hannah.
Hello. I'm Korean American. My parents came here when my mom was 18. And from there, well, if I was just to give a snapshot of pieces of my life that were trials and tribulations.
Then we can dissect it as we go.
Yes, we can.
So starting off from the early days. You were born and raised here?
I was born and raised in the Bay Area.
Oh, Bay Area. Where?
San Leandro.
San Leandro. Oh, right where the chiropractic school is, where I went to graduate school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hayward, San Leandro, San Lorenzo.
Yes, those are all my stomping grounds.
Called East Bay.
The East Bay. Yes, I love the East Bay.
Yeah.
So at 11 years old, I actually first got pain in my right femur. And a few years later, I found out I had Ewing sarcoma in my right leg. And I've had surgery, radiation therapy, and since then there's been trauma in my leg. So I had surgery last year again to remove bone ossification and infection.
So was the from the initial part, because man, you're going 100 miles an hour. We're going to break this down a little bit. Were you an athlete as a kid?
No, I was not an athlete because I actually had pain so young in my life at 11. Yeah. I mean, I did like PE, but I didn't really
like soccer and
no.
So that came on early, where a lot of people would say, "Oh, I had these injuries," just especially with these childhood type of ailments, diseases that the parents will tell the children or the child that, "Hey, listen, don't worry about it. Just work through it. It's growing pains." But yours didn't really come from that. Yours came from the immediate pain with not really the athletic aspect, correct?
Yes, actually, the pain came out of nowhere. I did have an injury prior to having the pain, so my knee got cut open.
Oh, okay, from an injury?
Yes, that was an injury. Yeah. So my cousin and I were working at her mom's cafeteria, and there was a large pane of glass. Now, she stepped on the glass on accident, and I happened to be on the section of the glass where it was pointed.
Gotcha.
And I moved out of the way, and that really point part of the glass
like a razor.
Just slid, like it just hit my knee just a little bit, and my knee just split right open.
Yeah.
All the way down to the bone. And she rushed me to the hospital. Not a lot of muscle there
at that age.
Yeah. And then I actually babied my leg after that injury. I didn't really walk around. I limped, and then a year later, I got the pain in my leg, and that resulted in cancer.
So explain to some of the audience that may not know. I mean, I could get into the doctor aspect of it, but from a person that's going through it, when you first heard it, and your parents kind of talked to you about it, tell the audience what technically Ewing sarcoma is, and in your eyes, and I can always add to it.
Ewing sarcoma is a type of cancer that is derived from the bone, I think, but mine, I had a large tumor on my leg,
right,
and small tumors wrapped around the leg. It generally happens in large bone sections, so the femur,
tibia,
the tibia.
Mm-hmm.
But it results in surgery, radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and sometimes people die from it because I actually met somebody.
Or amputation.
I was supposed to get my leg amputated. That was their initial, what do you call it, prognosis?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what they told me, to get my leg amputated. Otherwise, I would die.
Yeah.
But in that journey, I found God. And
at a young age?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
I was 15 when all that happened, because I actually did not live with my parents. And so I had all this pain in my leg, but didn't tell anybody. I just kind of suffered through it by myself. And then the tumor started growing, and my dad found it over the summer when I went to go visit them in Korea. So
your parents went back?
Yes.
Yeah. And you stayed here?
Yeah.
That's
I've
cool.
been separated from my parents since I was 11.
Yeah. And you'll go back and forth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Over the summer, I would go and visit and come back to America.
And was it one of those things where your parents thought it was like a good idea from an education point of view, a way of living in the future for you?
No, actually, I went to Korea. My dad wanted to go there when I was in the 4th grade. And I could not speak, read, or write in Korean at the time because I was born and raised in the Bay. And the teacher that I had absolutely despised Korean Americans. And he beat the crap out of me. With a large stick, a 2x4, he would beat me from my butt all the way down to my ankles. And I got bullied and beat up so much that my parents were like, you know what, we got to send her back to America because I just couldn't cope with being American, but looking Korean.
Yeah, and not being able to speak.
Yeah, not being able to speak. But I learned it really fast. I got it beat into me, literally.
So I don't think you'd see that in this in the U.S. right now in any of our elementary or junior high schools.
And that's actually not allowed in Korea anymore either.
Yeah.
They changed their law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corporal punishment, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Well, listen, when I grew up, born and raised here, and I remember, elementary school, doing something wrong in the playground. Oh no, there was a paddle back then too.
That's right. That is true.
When I was little, when dinosaurs were on the earth, you know what I mean.
Doc, you don't look old though.
Back then, the paddle was right there, and we'll pick down that paddle there, buddy. So you're gonna ask me to get the paddle so I can get my butt handed to me. Thank you very much. Can I have another? But so then, when you went to Korea over there to stay, and you were going to school and things like that, how long did you stay before you came back to the U.S.?
I stayed there from 4th grade through the 6th grade, and then in the 7th grade, I came back to America by myself at 11.
And with relatives?
I stayed with my cousin and my aunt.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And then your cousin the same age as you?
No, she is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
She's actually the same age as Lamont over there.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
He's still hanging out.
Yeah.
So then it was here you kind of found the tumor, and your parents were over in Korea at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's like your aunt or whatever that kind of had to help you through a lot of that type of stuff.
I actually was really quiet as a child. So even though I was going through, I call them cancer attacks. I didn't know it was cancer at the time. I would just call it pain attacks.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. I just would lock myself in the room and not come out. And I cried many a tears, going through that pain. Mm-hmm. And then I started to get angry. I was like, I'm not going to be in my room all the time. So even if it hurt, I started walking even through the pain. And then a tumor started to grow there.
Yeah, and then on the inside of the knee,
yes,
if you will.
On the inside of the knee.
Yeah.
And then I went to Korea over the summer, and my dad looked at my knee, and he was like, "What is this on your knee?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
"Oh,
Dad."
15 then? 14?
No, at that time I was 14. Yes, 14. I was like, "Oh, Dad, it's nothing." Because the crazy thing was, after I got the tumor, the pain attacks went away.
Right.
And my leg would throb all the time, but I could tolerate that because it was not a pain attack. Because a pain attack would take me out for the whole day. I would not be able to walk. It was so painful.
Yeah.
But then my dad was like, you know what? We need to go to the hospital and get this checked out. So my dad actually,
Korea?
Yes, and I got it checked out in Korea. Yeah, I had a bone scan, PET scan, CAT scan, every single type of scan.
That's when they found out about it.
Yes, that's when they found out, and that's when my journey with cancer like really began.
It's funny because we use the podcast. It's that warrior mindset type of thing, and at a young age, somebody like yourself, and we interview people that have some traumatic things that go on in their lives at such a young age, and 14 years old, and all of a sudden you get the news that you have cancer. Like how did that feel as such a young lady?
That was really hard because I was very fixated at like trying to like have people like me at that age, because I was kind of a dork.
Teenager.
Yeah.
You a dork? Never.
I was.
Never.
Nobody liked me.
Now everybody likes you.
No, I don't know.
So yeah, and that's in itself. And nowadays, a couple years later. But society's so much different now. I mean,
right.
how do you think, from your mindset of you trying to deal with that, a couple of years ago, and the way it is now, what do you think? Because you have a son, right?
Yes,
around the same age now.
15.
Right, 15. So right around the same age.
Yeah.
Do you think society's a little bit different with the way your kids are growing up? And I've got kids a little bit ahead of yours, but you think you would have dealt with it differently? Would it have been worse? Do you think? Because man, society is rough right now for teenagers and adolescents.
It is rough right now, but it's rough in a different way. Because back then, people were kind of ignorant to certain diversities, But now those diversities are like cracked wide open. Everybody is aware. Yeah. However, because of the aspect of social media and things like that, there's a whole another level of bullying, judging, because there's a different method to those things. Whereas before it was just like in your face. And sometimes some people have a hard time maybe expressing their emotions to someone's face, but they're very easy to do it.
On social media.
Or online or on a forum or something like that.
So how did you, so we didn't have all that, when especially when I was growing up, and you're behind me a little bit, and they didn't have all that social media. Was it kind of a one-on-one to now you had the tumor, you had to have surgery. Yeah. How were your peers and kids around you as your, junior high school time? I mean, did you have some good friends that kind of helped keep you,
I had one, I actually had two best friends, and there's still one, I don't really talk to him anymore, but my female best friend, she's been my best friend since I was 11 years old, and she was always there for me. Pia is her name. So, Pia. Up? Hey, Pia. But she actually saw me go through everything, and she was kind of, it's kind of funny because she was my base of exploration, because my mom and I have not really been... We don't really understand each other that well. There's cultural differences, generation differences.
She moved back there.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
But my friend Pia, I could always go to her, vent, and just kind of
listen.
Yeah. She was just always there for me. So other than that, though, I didn't really have that many friends. I was kind of a, like I said, like a dork. I was bullied. So
it's funny because, it's kind of interesting because we have that warrior mindset, and we use the term warrior, and a lot of times, most of the time, warriors are not separate individuals. A warrior can be a group of people, right? Yes. That kind of congregate together, whether it's the military, whether it's a team, and you get that warrior mindset. And it's kind of cool where you had, it was only one, but you and her were tight.
Oh, yes,
and,
absolutely.
That's another mindset, that you gravitate to somebody that has the same mentality that you do. You can be a crutch for her, she can be a crutch for you, and then you kind of stair-step your life together. So, and that's one of the things with this podcast, to find out, each individual has that one person, that two persons, or the people along the way that made, a little bit of influence on their lives. And, Pia is one of the ones for you that you can, obviously in a conversation like this, to say, yeah, she was my girl.
Yes, definitely. And I'm so thankful that God brought her into my life.
Partner in crime.
Yeah. Yeah, but her and I were like goody two-shoes, so
hey, listen,
not much crime.
Just
just partners.
Yeah, the concept was there.
Yeah.
Now, was she up in the Bay Area with you? Went to high school with you up there?
Yes. And she's still in the Bay Area.
Still in the Bay Area.
Castro Valley, yeah.
Yeah. And are you guys still super tight? And,
yes. We still talk. I mean, like proximity, I'm here in the Central Valley. She's in the Bay, so I don't get to see her all the time. Yeah. But our hearts are always connected. Like if I ever feel stressed out and I call her, she just knows me. So
that's interesting you said it, because when you do get those individuals that are part of your team, part of your squad, part of your platoon, part of whatever you're in your life, you can, there's never that, if you're apart geographically, I got a buddy of mine, I'm going to get him on this podcast here, one of my best buddies, Rick Dunlap, and he was the best man in my wedding. I was in his. He and I were in the same platoon together. We were roommates in college, and things like that. That we don't talk as much as we should. We're always leaving text messages and whatever. But when you get on the phone again, it's like you never skipped a beat. Yeah. You know what I mean? And those are true warrior partners in your life. And we don't have that many. We have a lot of acquaintances, but when you get that one tight individual where you can, it could be a handful, but not as many as people would think they have. Right. As true friends. Yes. Along the way. So I mean, you're super lucky to have somebody like that.
I am very lucky. I just want to give props to her for one thing, because after my brother passed away, we had to empty out the condo that he lived in, and nobody could really help me. We had 2 young children. I had a 4-year-old and she had a 2-year-old. Yeah, is that right? But she helped me for 3 days straight. We had these 2 little kids just occupied their time with coloring books and stickers. Amok. And we cleaned that condo out, and I had to get it cleaned because I had to carry my brother's remains to Korea to my dad, who had cancer at the time. And I was just in this time constraint, but she showed up for me every single day, early in the morning till in the evening, and we just worked nonstop. That's how much of a partnership we have. So I'm very appreciative for her.
Well, also too is as you're building, your life and who you are mentally, and physically, you stay in great shape and things like that. But, from that mental point of view, you had cancer, right? That was 15 to the treatment wise, 14 to 16. Like how long did it take for them to kind of get it to remission, if you will?
So I had surgery at 15.
15.
Radiation therapy shortly after that, for 2.5 months, I think. But I had the incision. And when I had the radiation therapy, I started to get like blisters on the incision. Yeah, but I didn't know what they were. And I wasn't the type of child to like speak up. Yeah. So I took a shower and all the blisters burst open. Nice. And it was really painful. Like I can't even describe that pain. Yeah. I couldn't sleep at night. Yeah. But then I didn't think to like tell anybody. I just kept it quiet. So then I went to my next appointment, radiation appointment, and they had a little cast. I put my leg in it with Band-Aids, and then they would shoot. And the technician actually looked at my leg, and he was like he kind of looked at it, and then the doctor wanted to talk to me afterwards. He said, stay after the appointment because the doctor wants to talk to you. So she came over to me after the appointment. She bucked up right next to me, grabbed me by the shoulder and said, listen to me. If it hurts, say something. Do not keep quiet. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. So then she was like, I know it hurts. Yeah. I can see. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't want to be a burden. Yeah. She's like, you're not a burden.
Yeah, and and I tell you, that's kind of cool. We get you on the show. I mean, that's that warrior mindset. You know what I mean? You're as an individual, you're like, hey, listen, I don't want to burden anybody with this. This is my deal. I'm going to handle it myself. But, as time goes on and hopefully you had Pia to kind of dump a little bit of that frustration with at times when you saw each other, correct?
Yeah, I mean, with Pia, I would tell her about everything that was going on and she would be like, what do you want to do? Yeah. My thing back then was I want to put on makeup and I want to go take photo booth pictures. And she'd be like, okay, let's go do it. Yeah. Like, put on your makeup. She would do my makeup. We would do our hair, put on some cute clothes. Because at the time, I was like in hospital gowns all the time. My leg was in so much pain. I had all the blisters, so I couldn't really wear things comfortably. Right. So she helped me to find some like normalcy in a very difficult time. She helped me to escape what my life was so that I could just be a kid or a teenager.
Right.
So, yeah.
And was that, how many years of really therapy did you have to have? Till they kind of told you, hey, listen, you're doing good for now.
They told me for a year, don't go out in the sun because you've been exposed to so much. Yeah, so much radiation.
17, you feel like you got to some normalcy at 17 or before you graduated, health-wise?
Yeah, I would say, I still don't even feel like I've completely found my normal in my health journey. And I say that because...
That's really not really noticeable when you see her in the gym, folks. Yeah.
Really? I don't know. I always feel super self-conscious.
She's a beast. She's a beast. Zumba nut too.
Yes, we love Zumba.
Well, you know what? And we all have that sense at times where we all don't feel normal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
Whether or
that's
not
true.
you've had any yours is a little bit physical too, and obviously when you have the physical problems, there's mental aspects of it that you have to deal with, along the way too. But it's kind of cool that you had that one person that was always there for you.
Yeah.
Which a lot of times people go through some of these traumas and trials and tribulations without anybody.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
true.
Or they'll rely on a lot of medication. And did you
Yes.
you handled the pain like a champ? Did you take a lot of medication or not?
They prescribed codeine to me, but I remember taking codeine for like the first 3 days, and then I stopped taking it because in my young mind I was like, I don't want to get addicted to these pain pills. So and mind you, like I had those pain attacks since I was 11, so my tolerance for pain was
super
just
high.
Yeah, and so I was not inclined to wanting to take the pain medication.
When did you finally feel like you said to yourself, okay, now I can have a little bit of normalcy, to where, like, did you finish your senior year and things were a lot better? Was it after high school?
Well, so my life has been pretty intense. Besides cancer, I've overcome many other things. So my living situation wasn't really stable or anything like that.
With your aunt?
Well, yeah, so after I had cancer, after I had cancer, I went back to Korea, right? After the surgery and the radiation therapy, I went back to Korea and I stayed there and I did homeschooling. I did that for a little bit. And then when I turned 16, my parents sent me and my two brothers to Florida to go to a boarding school, a Christian boarding school.
Yeah.
That didn't pan out.
For all of you?
For all three of us.
Okay.
So then I became their guardian.
Then what are you now, 17?
I was 16, going on to 17,
Right.
and I became a parent to both of my brothers.
Yeah. A lot younger? How many years younger at the time, those two?
So the one in the middle is a year and a few months younger, and then the youngest one is 2 years younger than me.
So what did you do in Florida when you become, emancipated basically? And
Yeah, basically. Well, we went to school.
to the boarding school?
Yes, but yeah, my life is so complicated, and so just I've been all over.
Folks were just peeling away the onion little by little, layer by layer.
We're gonna have to do 2 podcasts.
Yes. The alcohol is going to be coming out soon here.
But so being their guardian and trying to figure out high school, that was tough. And then in high school alone, I changed schools like 20 different times. So I was always the new girl, always the new kid.
And dragging your brothers.
And dragging my brothers, yes.
Now, where were you staying at the time?
So in Florida, we stayed in an apartment, the 3 of us.
And then your parents just paid for that?
Yes. Our parents always paid for the apartment. I did work part-time to make my spending money.
Yeah. Or for the boys, too, to help them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're both very self-sufficient, too. So, and then we did that for a little bit, moved back to California, stayed with my aunt again.
Gotcha.
And then at that time, we were going through a tough time. So then I got married to a guy. And I was 17. So actually, he had to drive me from Georgia. So he lived in Georgia. He was in the Army. Okay.
The tangled web we weave.
I know. It's so messy.
How'd you meet this guy?
I met him in Florida. So a friend of mine, he was stationed in Korea. I had a Korean friend.
Gotcha.
He knew them from church.
Gotcha.
But he had moved to Georgia and was stationed there. And I was living in Florida. And he came to visit them and saw me. But he was a lot older than me.
Yeah.
And that relationship was not a good one for me.
Yeah.
So.
Was it short-lived?
We were together, married for 4 years.
4 years.
But in that time, I moved from Georgia to Maryland to Virginia to Texas. Just like moved constantly.
with him moving with the military.
Yeah, with him moving with the military. But him and I, we were just not good for each other.
Yeah, I don't know. It's toxic relationships. Where were you brothers? Still in California with your aunt?
So then when my brother turned 18, the middle one, he joined the Army and he left.
Gotcha.
The younger one, he traveled with me wherever I went.
Because you were kind of like the guardian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was younger, yeah.
Wow. So let's see, that gets you to 4 years. So you're about 21, 22.
Yeah, so I got divorced like at 21. Yeah.
Got to make sure I keep all this chronologically.
I know.
Hold on, folks. We're going to get this in order here, get a calendar going.
Shoot, I don't even remember.
Gosh, damn.
You know? You got to go way back.
The life of Hannah.
The life of Hannah.
So then you get divorced and everything. No, you didn't have your son yet.
No, I didn't have any kids. Thankfully.
Yet, so, where'd you go? Where'd you go when you guys got divorced? You were in Maryland.
So then I came back to California. So I was in Texas.
Texas.
We got divorced, and then I came back to California, and then my dad paid for an apartment for us to stay in.
But you and your youngest brother. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, do you have a college too?
I did go to college, but I went to college at 24. I started. Life happened, so I didn't get to go to college.
Yeah.
But going to college, though, I had so much desire to graduate from college and do well that I really excelled. I got a scholarship and.
Where'd you go?
So my first 2 years, I went to Chabot.
Oh yeah.
And then my last 2 years, I went to Mills College. It's
right there in Oakland.
In Oakland, yeah.
Mills College. I think they changed the name since then, haven't they?
So Northeastern.
Yeah,
is that a college?
Yeah,
they're like a business college or something. They bought out Mills College, so now they have like a partnership or something.
Well, Chabot's still up there too. 2-year college, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Chabot College.
They actually got a really good community college baseball team.
I didn't know.
The baseball team is really good, actually. Yeah. So what did you finish your degree in?
So I got my degree in child development and education. Mm-hmm. And then after that, while I was working, I went back to school to Cal State East Bay, and I took some classes in like business. Used to be Hayward State. I don't know why they changed it. Hayward State sounds so much better.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You got a master's?
No. So I just got like certification.
Oh, check. Got you.
But then it's because I was working, and then by that time I was a mother, so I had a young child. I was working, and
your youngest brother, where was he at the time? So he had graduated himself?
So when I graduated from college, my youngest brother was in the Army.
Oh, he joined the Army too.
He joined the Army too. Yeah. So both of my brothers were in the Army.
Nice.
One was a chaplain. By the time he retired, he just retired.
Oh, you became an officer?
Yes. He became an officer. He went through OCS.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
Yes.
He has such a passion for God and for people. So, and then my youngest brother, he went into the Army. He got his business degree, and then he also he was a radiology tech.
Oh, in a hospital. Mm-hmm. Now you had one brother passed away.
Well, yes. So my brother, when he turned 29, he committed suicide.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Was that the older brother or the younger brother?
That's the youngest brother.
The youngest brother.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any? I've been involved with a lot of that type of stuff. With the Wounded Warriors, I've worked with a lot of those, and I go around lecturing all about how exercise affects mental fitness and things like that. Were there just underlining issues that he had himself?
Well, so actually, our dad got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer.
Right.
And then my brother committed suicide after we came back from Korea. So my dad got diagnosed with stage 4 stomach cancer. Mm-hmm. So the three of us went to Korea to go see him. Of course. And then we came back to America, and 2 weeks later, he committed suicide. So.
And nobody really was it just seeing his dad, you think, or A lot of, I mean, believe me, demons are inside everybody all the time. And that's why when we talk about this concept of this podcast and with other people that, may be listening to this in the future, you got to be able to talk to people. I mean, you got to be able to talk to people, because if you don't, there's inside demons that we have. And we know, myself from a healthcare provider, and you, I see in here, you're an animal in the gym, which is awesome. But really, it does really help you. It really does help you out.
Yes, he does. Well, actually,
the exercise concept.
He always exercised.
Yeah.
That was his one thing. Yeah.
And ironically, say, for example, what it could have been even worse. I mean, there's nothing worse than committing suicide, obviously. But, what happens is there's more things. If you can take away some of these pains from people and you add in exercise, you take away drugs, you take away alcohol, you put in good diets, we have a higher chance of being more successful mentally and physically, than we do if we don't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry about that. And even out there with the podcast here, when people are talking about Hannah's situation, with her brother, if there's people out there that contemplate that, hey, talk to somebody. I mean, I've been around for years working with the Wounded Warriors, and ironically, sometimes it's the people you least expect. Yeah, you know what I mean? Than it is somebody that's irate and
Well, I mean, I think that the three of us had such a tough upbringing.
Oh yeah.
That I myself tried to kill myself like 3 times, and actually, when I was getting divorced, I got put into a psychiatric hospital because I tried to kill myself then. Mm-hmm. So it's not something where it was like a complete shock. It was more like, I understand how he felt in his last moments, because life beats you down so much. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. You just get to that point. It's just like, oh, I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
What's that expression they use sometimes? When you wake up in the morning, you go, "Not today, Satan."
Right. Not today, Satan. Once my feet hit the ground.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah. No, and also thank you very much, because I think with the people that we get on this show, people, it's real. I mean, this is real. I mean, this is it's crazy, but and I appreciate and I thank you for bringing out some of that information for people and just telling your story, because every day now that armor has to go on with you too. You know what I mean? That mindset has to get there, because you should be now like saying to yourself, I'm living every day for my brother.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and totally.
Thank God you have a good, faithful foundation where you understand, Jesus Christ, and you understand that he's here for you. And you have to understand too that he does not want you to take your life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or anybody. And, obviously you're still here, thank God, but that you're surrounding yourself. And since I've known you, you're surrounding yourself by positive people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I tell people all the time, when I was in the SEAL team, I got the T-shirts that are out there. The only easy day was yesterday. Oh. You know why?
Because you got through it?
It's already gone.
Yeah.
And today's got a battle. That's why we have this podcast, that warrior mindset. What can we do to help you out? What can we help you get out to, out into the ethos for people to kind of feel and understand? Can we strap you on with that armor to make sure when there are trials and tribulations, when there are things, when you have, Satan coming down on you on a daily basis, because that's what he's on this earth for. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if he's challenging you and he gets one, he can become stronger. You know what I mean? If we can prevent that along the way by just letting people know is, hey, listen, you got to keep your faith. You know what I mean? Yes. You got to keep your faith. And then, he's going to make sure that you stay strong. You know what I mean? For your brother.
Right.
You know what I
mean? There's a lot of things for me to live for now. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I have my hard days.
Of course we do.
Yeah.
We all do.
Because we're human, but I'm reminded in his memory and also my dad's memory, for my son, just everything in life that God has brought to me, to my attention, that you have so much to live for. You have to keep fighting, because as long as I give you breath, you keep fighting. Yeah. And that's just what I do and strive for.
People tell me all the time, and I've probably said this before on the podcast, is people, come into my office, whether it's a chiropractic or on the other side of this wall in the gym, they go, "Doc, man, why are you in such a good mood?" Because when we hit the ground every day, you only have two choices. They go, what do you mean you only have two choices? You kind of do. Either you can be in a good mood or you can be in a bad mood. There's no gray. Either you're going to have a good day and you're still going to fight and you're still going to struggle, but you're still having a good day. But when you have the bad day, it just goes downhill and it's dark. You know what I mean? And then it just starts to kind of fester. You know what I mean? Now, will you kind of hit a wall and go, oh man, this really sucks? No, you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and go, no. And I tell myself all the time, not today, Satan, not today. You're not going to get me today.
You know,
what I mean?
I have that same pep
mood.
talk. Yeah. I will like look at myself in the mirror sometimes and I get into this negative headspace and I'm like, no, let that go. Let it go. You're going to go another day. You're going to go one more round. Let's go. Keep going.
And I bet you $5 you're saying it out loud.
I am saying
Heck yeah. Me too.
I totally say it out loud and I'm like trying to motivate myself. Yeah. But you know what? I do that and I say, okay, God, you got me here again. I'll go.
I'm gonna bring this up. I think we did this on the last podcast, but I tell people all the time. I swear I'm gonna probably get a T-shirt and put a just saying to it. But every day, right? You want to be as smooth sailing as you can. So you think of a duck. I think of a duck. I'm not a swan. I'm a duck, right? So you see a duck on the surface of the water, right? It's totally chill, just chill, right? And life is going on, but nobody realizes underneath the water. He's kicking like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right? He's just kicking, right? Yeah. That's the way we have to go through life. I'm going to handle my own stuff. I'm going to kick my feet myself, but on the surface, I'm going to just be cool as a cucumber. You know what I mean? And just get on with my life. I'm still a badass little duck, but you know what? I'm going to just keep kicking. What's the kids thing? Was it Dory? Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yeah.
Right? And I just, put that in that mindset of the duck. Every day, you're not going to see me sweat, but I'm still kicking like a mother.
Yeah.
Every day. Get up every day. Because yesterday was easy because it's already done.
Right.
Get up every day, get back in that water and start just kicking like hell. You know what I mean? Until the next day comes and you just got to wake up the next day and do it all over again.
Okay, you and me both.
Yeah.
We're both ducks.
Yep.
Sitting in the water, waddling.
Yeah. I'll put you in the swan category. I'm still in the duck. I'm just a duck. Maybe a duck with a cigar.
I'm a duck too. Okay, yeah. I'm a duck.
So when you finished college and everything. Now, did you have your son when you were in college?
Yes, I did.
You did.
Yeah, he was actually born. So he was born 10 days prior to me walking the stage at Mills College.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And actually, the chaplain at Mills at the time, Erica Max, she was sitting with Renelle Moon Brooks, who was the voice of the Giants. And she was like, "You see that girl right there? That girl's a badass." Because she, excuse my language.
Yes, that's okay.
Because so my body, because I've had cancer.
Yeah.
My body thought the baby was
a disease.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I weighed 230 pounds at my last prenatal appointment.
A lot of swelling.
A lot of swelling, like extreme edema.
Mm-hmm.
Like so bad. And
folks, she's about 5 foot nothing. So
I'm 5 foot nothing.
Yeah, 5 foot nothing at 230. We got to get a picture of that. We'll put it on the podcast.
I am fun sized.
Yeah, fun sized. You were then. Now
at that time, I was a bloated fun size.
Yeah. 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 Whiz.
But.
And no difficulties though? Even though you put on a lot of weight, there's a lot of inflammation, things like that. The body's trying to fight it. But, everything, obviously, your son's a good looking dude.
Oh,
He's in here in the gym, Lamont's doing some training with him and stuff like that. But wait, so you had him right before you walked?
Yes. He was born 10 days prior to me walking.
So you get down to this fun size right after you had him?
Oh no. When he was born, I actually gained more weight than 230 pounds. Like I was probably 245 because so my water broke.
Yeah.
But he didn't drop.
Right.
And so they gave me Pitocin, Cervidil.
Yeah, to open up the
Yes.
cervix.
But he still didn't drop. And then I started, I was going through so much trauma because I couldn't even walk with my right leg.
Right.
I was in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even lift my leg. It was so heavy. And I had a C-section.
Right.
emergency C-section. And the doctor said, he's a smart baby because if he would have dropped, his umbilical cord was too short, he would have died instantly. So he was crawling back up.
Yeah.
Every morning.
Separated.
Yeah.
Yep,
oh,
from
yeah.
Placenta. Yeah, yeah.
And so he was born by C-section. And because I weighed to like 245, that incision on my stomach, just trying to walk around, it was so painful.
Yeah. Well, and then also too is there's some muscle that you lost, with the surgery, and that's part of your quad, and that's, it's a big stability.
Okay.
So when you have that extra weight on your body, where's it going to put the weight on? On the area that has less muscle, toneness to it or muscle size, and, just probably added more towards that area. Wasn't it the cancer or anything like that? It's just all weight bearing aspect. That's just all, engineering, if you will. And then you walked like 5-10 days later.
Well, right after the surgery, the nurses come and tell you that you need to walk because
Super
otherwise
important.
you'll get blood clots and stuff like that. So I stood up and it was so much pain.
On the right leg?
Well, on my stomach too because I had the C-section.
Yeah.
So I walked the floor and then they told me like you have to try to walk every hour just for a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I would just walk. I just like grunch it through the pain. And eventually, thankfully, having cancer at a young age, my threshold for pain was so high that I was like, oh, okay, I'm good.
This.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how I take life is there's a lot of painful things in life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to hurt. But I always tell myself, okay, brace yourself. Let's go. And that's what I do. So
what after Mills, what brought you to Fresno?
Well, okay, so after my dad passed away, I took a trip to Yosemite and it was so majestic.
Just like it is here in Fresno. Majestic. That's what they say about Fresno, majestic. Oh my God.
Fresno.
On a side note, I was listening to Joe Rogan one time and he was talking about a guy and Joe Rogan does the comedy stuff. Oh my God. They just lambasted Fresno. And I think they were even at the Save More Center was beautiful. Was it? Yeah. And oh my God, I don't know who the comedian was. Oh my God, they just ripped us. So it's kind of ironic where I just saw that maybe Frankie, our camera guy, was watching that before, but we may have talked about it. I came to majestic Yosemite and it was just so beautiful. And I just decided to live in Fresno.
Well,
then you come to Fresno. We're in the Clovis. We're a little bit better side of town, but.
First, I moved up to Coarsegold.
Oh,
that was closer to Yosemite.
Yeah, that's beautiful up there.
And then after my son was going into the 7th grade, somebody told me in passing, hey, Clovis schools are really good. And I was like,
true.
Clovis? Where's Clovis? They're like, well, it's right next to Fresno.
Yeah, people don't want to say Fresno. They just say Clovis. It's a little more hoity-toity,
So during COVID, we moved to Clovis. For Ellis. For my son. Yeah.
And he, 14?
15.
Oh, 15. So sophomore this coming year?
Yes, he's going to be a sophomore.
North? Clovis
Buchanan.
North? Is it Buchanan? Yeah. Not that anybody really cares, but in the Clovis area, Fresno, Clovis, they're really good schools.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Buchanan is awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
But I did want to mention really fast that my brother, the one who passed away, he was actually stationed in Fresno.
Oh, really? At the army base?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they wrote an article about him dying, and I don't know.
How many years ago?
It's 10 years now.
10 years now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sergeant Joseph Kim, stationed in Fresno.
Wow.
And for the life of me, I forgot that he was stationed here because he would always drive down to Fresno. He'd be like, oh, I'm going to Fresno. I was like, who goes to Fresno?
See? I think that's what Joe Rogan said.
Okay, because Bay Area people, they're like, Fresno? Who wants to go to the armpit of California?
Yeah, exactly. but it's next to nice, beautiful Yosemite.
No, but also Fresno Clovis is coming up, people.
It is, I'm telling you.
And you know what? The people here have been so amazing, so kind.
It's a good little community.
It is. Yeah. It is. So I almost feel like I got led here by God.
I'll just say on the conservative side, which is why I'm still in California only.
It's the Bible Belt.
It's a Bible Belt of California.
Of California.
Yeah.
So I sometimes feel like I was drawn here for a reason.
So what do you do work-wise here now? I just see you in the gym. We just talk about working out.
Well, I do a little hodgepodge of everything, but I would like to quantify myself as a rogue agent.
Wait, did you say rogue Asian?
Agent.
Or agent? Oh, see, she doesn't even.
or Asian. You can see either one. They both fit.
She's a rogue Asian. We gotta watch out for. Oh my God, that's too funny. And you speak perfectly good English.
I know,
I
but
can't even make fun of you there.
But I also speak Korean. 안녕하세요, 여러분들.
Yeah.
한국말도 합니다.
And it's funny because I don't think I've told people too. I've been over to Korea like 10 times. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, with in the chiropractic profession, because there's a good buddy of mine, Hyosup Lee.
효섭, 이효섭.
Hyosup.
Oh, nice.
And oh my God, like I've been over there 10 times teaching chiropractic to a lot of the Korean, the doctors over there. It's not as legal as it is in the United States. A lot of times they go to school in Japan because they have a more formal school than they do in Korea. And oh man, I loved it over there. I loved it over there.
Korea's awesome, right?
Yeah, the food is unbelievable.
Korea.
I even went skiing. I went skiing in Korea
nice.
too. Down south part of the island, north, south,
I've been
east,
like,
west. It's there somewhere.
I'm really bad geographically. Really, do not ever ask me for directions.
Yeah.
If you see me out there, do not ever ask me for directions. I will lead you astray.
Is that in Korea or here in Clovis?
Anywhere.
Anywhere
I go, do not ask me.
Were your parents Seoul, like in the big city?
Kunsan.
Kunsan. Okay, because I was
Kunsan is a harbor town.
A harbor town. Because I was in where was I in? I'll think of it. I just lost it on the top of my head. But it was awesome. The people were so friendly. I mean, especially as a white guy over there, man. It was awesome.
I will. Yeah, white guys are like revered in Korea.
Yeah, and then you're the doctor, right? And then you're going over there, and I own the gym and then into the fitness industry, and a lot of the doctors over there, ironically, the chiropractors over there were. Black belts in Taekwondo. They were mainly the jiu-jitsu, Taekwondo, martial artists, because back in the day, in a lot of the Asian cultures, they used to call it bone setters, right? That's a better word to use. They just learned through manipulation through generations. You know what I mean? How to do that. Now, obviously, it's trying to become, a legal entity and things like that, but these guys, could manipulate the bones, pretty good, and they just wanted more of a modern American, style of techniques. And that was the first time I ever had acupuncture was in Korea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's different styles with the Korean acupuncture and the Chinese acupuncture. It was really, really super interesting.
I love acupuncture.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely has its place within the healthcare field. People don't realize that. You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, I would say instead of the medication, going towards chiropractic, it's so much of a better avenue, because when you expose your body to too much chemicals, your body either one adapts to it and then it becomes immune to that medication, or two, it causes so many side effects that you end up suffering over the side effects more than your that disease that you were trying to fight. So
and that's why we talk about it in the sense that you want to do as much prevention in your life. So if you ever did need some sort of medication or invasive type of therapy, if you will, you've already ruled out everything that is done holistically, if you will. A good diet, good nutrition, low stress, the chiropractic manipulation. I tell people I'm just like an electrician. I'm an electrician of the spine, right? So I just make sure the nervous system is working right. Because none of this stuff is made up by me, the chiropractor, or the chiropractic profession. Because we utilize Gray's Anatomy book, we utilize the neurology, and we utilize all the years of dissection where the nerves go. And if we're just kind of manipulating the spine, making sure the nervous system works right, most likely, the body's going to work better.
Right.
Now, if it comes, gets destroyed, emergency procedures and things like that, and obviously genetic potentials where people get disorders and diseases, some of those interventions are super, super important. But from a daily basis, I got a headache, I got to take a migraine medication. I got stomach ache, I'm going to take some, Pepto-Bismol or some, medications. Most of the type of stuff it can be done more, naturally and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool that, you kind of have that same mindset. I think most of the fitness people, nowadays are really in that wheelhouse.
Yes.
More so.
Well, I think even people who are not fitness people, they need to look up natural remedies, because if you can naturally heal the body, what great wealth do you have? Because if you do not have access to proper medical care and you can take care of yourself naturally, what power is in that, So
just on a general sense too, if you think about it, medication, when you break it down to chemistry, hydrogens, oxygens, and things of that nature, it all comes originally from a plant or something, a mineral or whatever. What happens is why the FDA kind of sometimes poo-poos a lot of the vitamins because they can't control it because it's a natural substance and they don't have a patent on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you may say to yourself, well, vitamins, let me see. Say there's a medical prescription for vitamin D3. But there's other holistic ways you can get it so you can get the vitamin D3. You know what I mean? And different.
What are some ways you can get vitamin D?
Is
that the sun?
The sun. You know what I mean? A lot of that. Now, I'm not saying go and then then you go, let's go get sunburn.
Right.
And things like that. And
all in moderation.
Yeah, the green leafy vegetables, the oils and things like that. People can definitely get into that, to help you prevent things along the way. You know what I mean? But, and obviously I see you in the gym here all the time. You guys are, you and Lamonte are doing little videos, kind of keeping everybody, positive. So you had your girlfriend when you were in high school.
Yes.
Is there another individual as you were, growing up, say 15 to 25, 15 to 30, is there individuals that kind of geared you towards things, or were you basically kind of mentally on your own?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I've always had God. God has always been a source of...
Jesus take the wheel?
Jesus take the wheel,
so
just comfort, peace, everything. And really, a lot of the mental issues that I suffer with other people suffer from, when you have peace, it makes a really difficult situation livable. But other than that, of course, there have been people in my life that have helped navigate me or protect me or love on me. Yes. I have my family. I have my brothers. When my brothers were both alive, it was always just the three of us, the Kim kids. Yeah. They were my left and right arm. But other than that, I have my cousins. I do have family, and I appreciate each one of them when they did offer their time and their love and stuff like that. And then just, I can't really pinpoint exactly one person, but I will say it takes a village.
I was just going to say that. Damn it. She just
I beat you.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very thankful I got to meet you too, Doc.
Yeah. Oh,
you are such a positive person. And I mean, Navy SEAL, chiropractic doctor, bodybuilder, gym owner. I mean, come on. Where's the list?
Pay her later for this.
Where's the list?
Yeah. Well, what's funny, and thank you for. Flattery will get you everywhere. Yes, we'll get you everywhere.
So I've been told.
And it doesn't work, but most of the time I try. But I totally appreciate that, and it's even one of these the thing that I've always been trying to work on. I tried this probably pre-COVID, and kind of hit a cement wall. Didn't have the right camera people and things like that. Frankie, man, the guy's a stud. But, it's one of those things I've always tried to, and I think that, like you said, the SEAL Team Foundation, my 6 years, I did 6 years in, I was in when there was no combat going on. But what it did is it built a mindset, right? And obviously, on top here, the warrior mindset, it built that mindset of being successful, never give up, never quit, never ringing the bell. The only easy day is yesterday. Any one of those little sayings along the way has built me up. And then each time with my life, brick and mortar, as I'm building my foundation of who I am. And, I've always thought to myself, I want to drag everybody with me. You know what I mean? I want to make sure people have that one little glimpse of, hey, if I can make you have a good day, you know what I mean? Maybe, I've made a change. Yeah. In somebody's life. If I can motivate them to tell them, hey, man, what you got to do is you got to get out there. You got to go, go see the world, if you will, And my motivation and your motivation may be totally different. You may go, oh, my God, Joe, I'm going to go bungee jump. And I'm like, hey, God bless you. Go right ahead. I ain't doing that.
Oh, I'm not doing that.
You know what I mean? Say, but you'll do other things. And I think, I may have said this before on the podcast before, but you ever hear people when they tell you had a catastrophic event, car accident, slipping, whatever the case may be, and they go, oh, my God, my life flashed before my eyes, right? So with that being said, I feel, and I mean, just kind of joking along the way, is that I tell people it's like you didn't really experience anything. If your life flashes before your eyes, before you leave this earth, you didn't really do much, right? In my mindset.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to leave when I'm on my deathbed. You got your family and friends around you, and everybody's looking around. I'm from the East Coast originally, and you got all your friends from there, and they're looking at their watches, and they're like, it's the end of Joe's life. But hey, let's go grab a beer because it's going to take him about 90 minutes to go run through his life. A USB or something like that, because Joe's going to go through all the things that he's done in his life. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think we're on this earth, to experience many things in life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you just had a flash before your eyes, my God, the good Lord gave you this gift of whatever many years you were allowed to have. Mm-hmm. Go do something. Like, quick question. Yeah. Did you ever been to the Grand Canyon?
No.
Me either. And we live in the United States. You've been to, was it Mount Rushmore? Like where they have the big heads?
No.
The president heads?
No, I know. No, see, I haven't.
So also too, and you may say to me, or I may say to you, it's like, I really don't want to do that. That's fine. But if you haven't done things, like, so say for example, really from seeing the Grand Canyon, a little check on the box, you and I go to the Grand Canyon, we're like this. Man, that's pretty deep, huh? And you're like, yeah, Joe, it's pretty deep. Go have a beer? All right, let's go have a beer. And that's it. Check the box. You go to Mount Rushmore, right?
No,
and we go see the big heads, right? And you and I are both like this. Damn, those things are big. And you're like, yeah, they are. Should we go grab some lunch? But just check the box. You know what I mean? Just the more things you can put in your brain, right? Mm-hmm. So when you do leave this earth, you go, you know what? One is hopefully I left a little thumbprint, with people. Yeah. You know what I mean? Why I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. But also, too, is within your own self to go, you know what? I've been gifted with this life. I'm going to try to take advantage of it as much as I can. And if we could you and I change somebody's life, where maybe somebody, sees us or they're down in their luck or whatever, and they go, oh, my God, this young lady here, she was fighting from cancer. She lost a brother, the trials and tribulations. She's back and forth from Korea to Florida, to Maryland, to Texas, to whatever, at 21 now? 21? Age 21?
Me?
You're 21? Right.
No, so I'm 42.
Yes, at 21,
I am 42.
21, she's experienced a lot of things. But if we can do that for people, and you tell your story today, that maybe somebody will go, oh my God, you know what? She was right where I was. And oh my goodness, 3-4 times, she almost, and she's a Christian person, and she almost took her life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, for people to listen to this, and myself too, as a Christian person, man, Satan had a hold on you, honey.
Oh, I know, but God already knew the path, and He knew that what I would be able to handle, As you came through that. Yes, and God has been with me every step of the way. And I totally I'm in alignment with you.
Cool.
About
slight chiropractic joke there, right?
That's a dad joke.
That's a dad joke right there. Slight alignment. I'm cervical or thoracic?
Thoracic. That life experiences really enrich our lives. Mm-hmm. But when we take that enrichment and are able to share that with others, then all of a sudden your life has true meaning. Because it's not just about working and eating and going out and getting, going out and getting the house, going out and getting the car. It's not, if life was only about that, how fruitless is that? Mm-hmm. Every time you make an impact, and it can be something so simple, like just giving somebody a smile and saying, hey, you know what, have a great day. And you don't know if that person was just on the precipice of just giving up. Yeah. Making that type of impact, even in the most minute way, that is our purpose of being here.
So it's like the expression of you put a pebble in the water. Right.
And the ripples
effect. Right. So we have the ripple effect, the butterfly effect, and things like that. Yeah. That you just never know what it is. I think I've told this story, but I'll tell you because you haven't heard it before. But real quick, about 6 years ago, I had a stroke.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In Florida, I was with my son. He's 14 years old. Crazy story how that when he's 14-year-old trying to, he's at a baseball field. He's got to try to find his dad in the hospital. They don't even know about it. It was crazy. But anyway, when I'm having a couple stents put in, it came from when I was in the Philippines. I was jumped when I was in the service. I got jumped by 2 Filipinos and was in the hospital for 10 days with an infection. But the doctors over 30 years later, they found out the infection caused scar tissue in the heart. Okay, so lo and behold, long story short, had a couple stents put in. But I came back, and you know me a little bit. It's like the doctor's like, well, Joe, take a week off. Don't be working out. You got to stay healthy. And I'm like, man, I got to get back to my patients.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people are like, what are you, crazy? So I got back on a Saturday or Sunday. They told me to take the week off or 10 days off. And I said, no, I went back to work Monday. And there's a little old lady that came into the office. It was right here. And she said to me, doctor, I've referred in from some of my friends. I hear you're the best guy in the world. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like, oh, well, thank you. And I said to her, like, well, what can I do for you? She goes, I'm ready. Honest to God, like you could see it in her face. She's like, I'm going to commit suicide. I go, ma'am, what the heck? She was like 70s, late 70s, early 80s. And she goes, my back's been killing me. I can't take this anymore. I've been to everybody you can imagine. One of my friends recommended you. I'm like, oh my gosh. Talk about the stress that I got to put, the stress is on me. Mm-hmm. But again, remember, I wasn't supposed to be at work.
Right.
So I took care of the lady, did my, examinations, consults, tissue work, blah, 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 got her adjusted, got her aligned, and, got her adjusted. She got up the table. Honest to God, she goes, I'm fixed. I'm healed. I'm like, my goodness. First of all, my head's going to be this big. And I go, don't go around telling anybody that the chiropractor's curing cancer, curing this and that. But what I was able to do is probably something that nobody else did. I, got some of the pinched nerve out, was able to get the pelvis and the hips moving again because there was lower back pain. She got up and she says, I'm fixed. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe we should, see you again this week sometime and whatever. And she says, thank you very much, doctor. I cannot tell you, literally I was going to commit suicide. Never saw the lady again. Never saw the lady again. So then you think to yourself from a ripple effect, if I decided not to be stubborn like I am, and you have the same personality, I came into work that next day. And that lady, I don't even know what happened to her. But she didn't commit suicide, which is pretty badass. Yeah. So it's like every day you're doing the same thing. You've had some trials and tribulations. You throw on that armor every day, and then you persevere. And who's going to come behind you? Hey, listen, you're going to forge first. You're like the tip of the spear, and you're going to influence as many people as you can. And you're just dragging people with you. I have that same mentality, and with the patients, whether it's fitness, whether it's nutrition, working with police department, working with the fire department, getting guys ready for boot camp. This podcast, which hope has some success, where people listen to me interview people like you, and we make one difference with one person. I want that pebble. Yeah. We put on the armor every day, and we just throw that pebble in the water and see just how it expands.
I think knowing you, having gotten to know you, I'm willing to bet that you not only adjusted that woman, but you also probably listened to whatever was going on, and that was just enough for her to be like, you know what? Okay, I'll go another day, and then that pinched nerve, whatever it is, that suddenly felt better, and because it is the mindset. When the mindset is leaning towards, I can do it. Okay, I'm gonna be positive. Then the physical ailments that you have don't seem as pronounced. So,
and also too is when you, I always feel that I care for my patients. I always tell them when they're in this office now. We redesigned it for the studio, obviously. But when patients come in here, I close the door, and I don't care if there's 100 people in the waiting room. Who's ever in the who's ever in the treatment room is going to get 110% of my attention. Yeah. If they need to be here for a half an hour, I don't care the people waiting in there, because they're going to want the same attention, which they're going to get. Right. Which sometimes they get backed up a little bit, but that's what they're going to get. You know what I mean? And it's funny because I thought to myself, I grew up as the Irish Catholic guy, and altar boy and everything, serving Mass. Then you go into the military at 18 years old, and you meet all walks of life, and every religion possible. I get to SEAL team, right? I get to Buds. And you guys may have heard this story a little bit before too. And guys are like dropping like flies. People ringing out, people quitting. We started like 50, 60 guys. I mean, my graduation picture's right behind here.
Yeah, not that
but
many
there was
guys.
like nine guys, nine originals out of about 50, 60 guys. Now the classes are bigger. But all these guys, some of these guys were like literally like seeing Jesus. They're like, I'm saved. And these guys are becoming like these Christian dudes. And I'm getting all freaking pissed off. I'm like, wait a minute. How can you have all this relationship with God? And I've been a good guy my whole life. The altar boy and this and that and blah, blah, blah. That went throughout a lot of my life, right? Where some of the guys in my SEAL team was like, all you got to do is get down on your knees and, receive Jesus Christ into your life and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I was a Catholic. We're up here.
We're the originators.
Which is not true. That's a little religious joke there. But, you were baptized as a child, super ritual. I mean, gee whiz, when I was growing up in the late 70s, I mean, you're wearing a black robe, you're right there with it was crazy.
Yeah.
And like, what do you mean? Just get down on your knees and ask Jesus to come into your life. Then I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, these guys have this huge epiphany on their life change. And I'm a pretty good guy to begin with. And these guys are like turning into like Superman, from a Jesus point of view. I'm like, wait, I want a piece of that, So I did the same thing. Got down on my knees. I'm in buds, in SEAL team. Well, maybe I'll get through SEAL team and I'm not going to quit because God's going to help me through. Get down on your knees. Jesus got to come into my life, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, nothing. Nothing. There was nothing, right? So you ever watch, I'm sure with your son, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer?
Yeah.
Right, and you got the guy chasing the abominable snowman, the guy in the beard.
Yeah.
And he's throwing a pickaxe. And he's looking for silver and gold, right? So he throws a pickaxe and he hits the ice and he licks it and he said, nothing. Right, he comes up with nothing, right? So that's me trying to receive Jesus into my life, right? Nothing, right? So I go out throughout my life and then I said to myself, when I was in the chiropractic, I was already graduated. I was an intern doctor, got invited to go to Australia, right? Things in my life, trying to figure things out. You're just a young doctor. Where am I going to go? Blah, blah, blah. Then I thought to myself, we're on the other side of the equator. Maybe God will listen to you on your other side of the equator. The toilet goes the opposite way. Maybe God will listen to me then. And it is honestly God's truth. Walked into the water in the ocean, full freaking moon. I go, you know what I'm going to do? Maybe if I baptize myself, get under the water, right? I'm butt-ass naked. And I'm like, Jesus, come into my life, full freaking moon. Nothing. I'm like, what the hell? These freaking guys back in the day, the SEAL team, the guys, Christian guys and whatever. It wasn't until I had that stroke and then I had the heart surgery that I was working on that lady. Then I said to myself, you freaking idiot. Dude, you lay hands on everybody every day. You don't need him to be knocking on your door because maybe that individual really had a terrible life, drug addict, whatever the heck it was. Joe, you lived a pretty good life. God gave you the hands and you picked a profession. He guided you to a profession that you get to lay hands on everybody every day. So I'm a conduit.
Yes.
So that lady got it worked on, like you said, and I just, said, listen, and I do that a lot, now it's going to get out there. I'll say it a lot of times before I'm with my patients, like, okay, God, you're going to have to help a brother out on this one. This one's not an easy case for me to work on. And ironically, a lot of times, people get better that I'm like, oh my God, this is pretty cool because they went to everybody else and then come to me last. It's pretty badass sometimes when I have some of the patients come in. There's that lady, 7 years ago, 7 years ago, I laid my hands on the lady. I'm like, Joe, you're an idiot. Everybody has a different calling.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean? As a Christian. I mean, I'm not a door knocker. I'm not knocking on any. I'm not
either.
Knocking on anybody's door. I am not that guy. You know what I mean? If you get me in front of a congregation, I'll get on the podium. I'll talk my ear. Obviously, I got a freaking podcast. I'll talk their ears off.
No, but you know what though? I'm just like recognizing the fact that you are giving the credit to God and you're saying that I'm the conduit. That in itself is such a humble spirit and such a great approach.
Yeah.
Such a great approach to what you're doing instead of, because there's so many professionals out there that think, well, it's my education. I'm just really talented. It's
so
constantly pat on the back. But really, if you go to the table and say, I'm here to help others, and it's not just me doing the work, but actually God is using me. I am the vessel to his work. Then just in your job, in your work, it's so meaningful.
Oh, every day I tell people
And you make
I
an
love what I
impact.
do.
Yeah,
I love what I do. And also too, we talk about a temple, right? And you're blessed, I'm blessed, we're in good shape. But if we constantly talk that, it's like you're put on this earth not to be, an old beat up vehicle. You're supposed to be strong as long as you can throughout your life. And obviously we already know we degenerate and deteriorate. But it's like live your life the strongest you possibly can because mentally and physically you'll be able to get around and experience more things that God's put, on this good green earth.
And all those places that you mentioned, the Grand Canyon, all those places are God made. So it is worth for us to take the time to go out there and go look at it. Because when I saw Yosemite, I was like, wow, look at how beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's picture perfect.
Yeah.
There is no artist besides God that can create such a beautiful thing. So those moments are experiences that are worthwhile because you get to take that with you.
Somebody that you would look up to or whatever, and you want to have lunch with them. It could be any, from any era.
Oh,
Who'd you have lunch with? Oh, I got her, folks. Oh my God, there's so many.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so
you could go two. Like if you said to yourself, it could be two, it could be three. Like you said, oh, these three people because of X, Y, Z. It could be, it could be from a preacher type of person to a government type of person to an inventor to a whatever shaman.
Okay, I have two people.
Okay, there you go.
One, okay, so I have a celebrity crush.
Good. Who is it?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Do you know who that is?
I probably do.
Okay.
If I see a picture.
You guys will have to look him up, okay?
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my celebrity crush.
Okay, so what would you have a conversation with? Well, hold on. I'm just going to leave that there. Oh, so there's not a lot of talking?
Well, no, because actually, though, he's not like the best looking. Well, I shouldn't say that because it's all subjective, but it's not because of the looks part. That's not why. He actually does a lot of different pieces of like artistic things that he does.
Interpretation.
Yeah,
and things like that.
and I find that mind very fascinating.
Yeah.
Anyone that's like creatively inclined, I find it, I'm very intrigued by that.
So what would you ask him? If you sat down across like this and you're having lunch with him?
Oh, no, I chose because I just want to see if he actually looks like what he looks like when I see him in the movies.
Oh, my God.
Not because I have a question for him. And then
I just want to look at him.
And then another person that I would like, actually, this is kind of crazy, but during the North Korean and South Korean split, I want to talk to somebody who is in the middle of that. Because,
One side of the street and the other side of the street almost?
Yes, yeah.
Kind of, right?
Because Korea, the country is this big.
Oh, my God, yes.
And it's split in half.
Yeah.
We are one people.
Yeah.
And when they were going through the war and
50s?
The country got,
50s?
I don't know, it was way before my time, right?
Yeah. I didn't know it was like way before mine, too.
But that was a hard time for the Korean
40s,
people.
50s? Yeah.
Probably 40s.
Like
after
World War II and then,
Yeah, it's because my dad was born in 1952. And
yeah, well, the Korean War was probably in the 50s before Vietnam.
yeah.
It wasn't that many years compared to after 9/11 or Afghanistan, Iraq, and even Vietnam. But it was a good couple of years. I mean, we were there. I mean, that's where the TV show MASH came from.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah. Well, my dad used to love that show.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk to the people, like a person who lived through that, because I just want to know what was it like to be at odds with your own people, because the country got split. And to me, still to this day, I'm thinking there's just no way, because people that were in South Korea, North Korea, there were families that got split at the time that never got to see their other families, that, on the other side. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so how heartbreaking is that? And it's even more so heartbreaking because it's because of war. Mm-hmm. And it was nothing that they did. It's not like, oh, I can't get along with you, I want a divorce. This is literally like children being ripped from their parents' hands with no choice, no say in the matter.
Political and money.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Most of the 99.9% is, political and, and then there's emotional aspects of it too. You get the Hatfields and McCoys or something like that back in West Virginia or something like that, that's a whole nother ball of wax. But you see, I mean, come on, Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
all everything going on.
You know what I mean? It's all politics.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I've given the analogy on the podcast before, and just to give you one to kind of open your eyes, is you and I, Frankie, Lamont, we're in the medieval days. Okay, we're out in the fields, we're pitching hay, milking the cows, doing whatever. Right, the next level of people are the ones right outside the castle. Right, they may be your police department, fire department, maybe city council or whatever, but they're the meat market. They're the farriers for the horses. They're the seamstresses and whatever. Mm-hmm. We're out in the field. We don't know what's going on in this world. We're just trying to pitch the hay, bring some vegetables to the market and whatever. then the market people, the say local government. Then you go inside the moat. You open up the door and you go inside. Then inside, then it's crazy. That's what's the capital up here in Sacramento or DC or whatever. Then the people in there that work there, but they're the little soldiers. They're like, holy moly, look what is going on inside this castle freaking wall, right? And then you get in deeper, right? And then you get into the kings and the queens and the freaking court jesters, which are like some of our politicians, right? And then you get the round table. And those are those people we just hear names of, the Soros and the Rockefellers and the, all these type of people. And we know nothing. I was fortunate. I understand a little bit because, I had a top secret clearance when I was in. There's some of the stuff you're like, damn, right? Yeah. And this is like 30 years ago. The stuff going on now, oh, my God. People just, their eyes aren't open. Oh. You know what I mean? And the stuff that goes on, we're just the farmers pitching hay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're just trying to keep us happy by fake left, go right. You know what I mean? It's like a magician.
It's a smoke screen.
Look at here, look at here, as they're pickpocketing you from the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We are in a time of spiritual warfare, and we have to be mindful of how we move, because, we are the people that are the game changers down the line. Not because people in control, they already know what they're doing. They already have the chess all set up for them to win. Right. It's the people who basically they want a puppeteer that have to rise up and be for one another so that we can be strong enough to forge forward, not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come, for our children.
Well, you know who I think is a big part of it? Who got to really step on a bed, and I think they're really doing a good job? Women. Right? Because women, 100%, because I'm telling you what, man, I'm scared. Because if the women really kind of get together, they're getting fed up with all the stuff going on. And listen, do not get in front of a mother with her baby chicks.
Oh, yeah.
There's havoc. Not even a rooster gets in between a hen and her baby chicks. You know what I mean? Right. And what's happening on with a lot of this stuff and the infringements upon female rights and bathrooms and transgender and stuff like that, sporting events and whatever, I'm just sitting back and go, you go, girl, because I'll be right there with you. You know what I mean? And I see a little glimpse of it right now where the pendulum is swinging. It's starting to swing back the other direction. If the women get really, really together, probably this country needs a woman president, because she'll square some shit away. You know what I mean? Because most of the women do not like what's going on.
Well, I think also you have to put out there that in all things, when it deals with people, it's respect. Boundaries and respect. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and set boundaries the way you want your boundaries set. Speaking of which, after this podcast, my plan is to go watch The Sound of Freedom. I don't know if you've heard of that movie.
See, a little plug there for for the audience. I'm going to be right there behind you. I want to go see that too.
Yeah,
huge Mel Gibson fan, and then also too. I don't know how to say
James Caviezel.
Yeah. Sorry, bro. I'm
sorry.
That name correctly. But I've been promoting that too, and on my social media and whatever. Okay. I just hope that makes a shizload of money.
I think it is, because why? It's the theaters are packed out. There's not that many showings, but each showing is packed out. So.
And I think once the monetary aspect gets there to where people can say, okay, we have some more money to put it, because you don't get into a movie theater and go, hey, it's free. To show the movie, No,
but there is a program that somebody set up that if you want to donate tickets, that people who can't afford it can go watch it. Yeah. So
that's awesome too.
It's all about information. Get the information out there.
Yeah, it's just tragic, and there's a lot of guys that are former SEALs that hang out down on the border and work for different organizations to kind of curtail a lot of the childhood, the trafficking and stuff like that. It's just, man, it's a sin. That's all I can say. It's a sin.
But that is the world that we live in right now. This is why we must stay vigilant in and how we move.
Yeah. Wow. With that being said, folks, hey, listen, I just want to thank you guys for watching today, and I want to thank Hannah, so much.
Oh, thank you. Honey. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And just, want you guys to know, so we talked about a lot of things today, and a lot of it's from a psychological and emotional point of view. Different, we talk about suicide and, how that affects just, individuals that are survivors, you know what I mean? And if you are thinking of hurting yourself or committing suicide, there's definitely programs out there. We'd be more than happy, even through this podcast, to get you to the right people. As a veteran, I'm a disabled veteran too. And so, I understand the post-traumatic stress and things like that from, being jumped and being stabbed and whatnot. But, there's people out there to talk to you. And I really appreciate, Hannah coming out and, giving us your history, which is amazing. So hopefully, people look at this and, hey, listen, anybody that you like to have on the show, please feel free to DM us, at the Warrior Mindset podcast, and we'll kind of try to get them on. But until next time, I'd like to thank you again. Again, Hannah, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you guys soon. Take care.